business. Y'all already know the business. Once again, this your boy Jimmy J Smooth touching down at the 832, and I'm on it. I'm on it. So I just wanted to give an education moment, history being that Birth of a Nation is classified as a box office success right now. Yes, it is. It's right now. It's $2 million over budget right now, and I wanted the people to understand the psychology of the industry because a lot of people get very confused. Some people think because they movie go over budget, makes over his budget is successful, which is that is somewhat true, but it's called a different type of success. So I want the people to drop the. I just want people to understand the terminology in. Now, the first terminology, which is the first thing I want to address, and it's a pretty tricky uh, terminology. Uh, the first terminology I want people to understand about the movie industry is a box office disappointment. Let's be clear right now. Movie is called a box office disappointment does not automatically mean it's a flop. I'm dropping signs right now. Just because a movie is called a box office disappointment does not automatically make it a a flop. A box office disappointment can make hundreds of millions of dollars in the movie industry. Case in point, Superman versus Batman. It was not called a flop, even though some people called it a flop. It was not a flop by definition because it made uh, $500 million in over its budget. Classified by a lot of movie experts as a disappointment because they was expecting Batman versus uh, Superman versus Batman, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They expected the movie to make at least $1 billion. So they called it a disappointment. Battleship. Battleship was a pretty successful movie. I think it made close to $500 million at the box office, but it was a box office disappointment because they expected people to rake in billions of dollars because it was an old game in Battleship. So we got to understand that terminology. Just because someone says a box office disappointment does not mean it was a unsuccessful movie. You know what I'm saying? Because a box office successful movie, let's say you budget a movie at roughly, let's say $200 million. To be hypothetical, and your movie makes shit. They was expecting your movie to make $1.5 billion or even break box office records. And let's say your movie ends up making $700 million. Is that a flop? Because it made well over budget. It's $600 million, $700 million. It's not a flop, but the expectations that it was brought was a disappointment in itself. Now, in some cases, like Suicide Squad, by some experts, they were expecting it to make billions of dollars, but uh, they're still going to make another remake, so they're expecting that to do better than the last one. But my case in point is we got to understand these terminologies. Now, a flop, by definition, means it's successful or it didn't make that much more than expectation. Because a movie can make, let's say you budget a movie for $20 million and it make $22 million, but the expectation was probably around 200 million to about 500 million. Then by definition, that could be considered a flop. Let's say you look at a movie like Birth of a Nation. Birth of a Nation has been called a flop, but technically it's looked at as a moderate success because the movie studios didn't expect no more than probably $10 million anyway. $8 million, $10 million anyway. So they was expecting it to fail on his ass, but it's really not failing. It's a moderate success. You know what I'm saying? But some people, some movie experts, uh, some studios expect more with certain movies. So the fact that it it made over budget, it's a moderate success by definition. Uh, so we have to understand these terminologies because sometimes a movie flop, it is what it is. It's a damn flop. You know what I'm saying? For the most part. But there are some movies that have been called a flop. Top of my head, there are some movies that have been called a flop and it made probably like 2 or 3, 4, 5 million dollars over budget. It has been classified as a flop, I should say. So another terminology that people don't don't know the difference is a box office bomb. Hasn't even made close to his budget. That is a box office bomb. Let's say the movie studios $150 million on a movie, and it only generated 150 million. By definition, since it lost over hundreds of millions of dollars, that's a box office bomb. Like Howard the Duck was a box office bomb. However, when it went to video, it made like $1 million over his budget. So, and as a matter of fact, Tariq brought this up on his live stream. He said that what happened was a lot of those executives were getting to fighting about because of the movie had flopped with Howard the Duck so bad. And I remember Howard the Duck like yesterday. Had Leah Thompson and Tim Robbins. It was so bad that Leah Thompson for a while got rejected for roles. This is documented. And Leah Thompson was a pretty relevant movie star in the 80s. But it was some movies that she should have been in that she didn't get because of Howard the Duck. Same with Tim Robbins. You know what I'm saying? He had to settle for the movie Bull Durham, which was not too big of a movie for the most part. It's a classic, but people don't remember that for the most part. So we got to understand the terminology difference between a box office bomb, a box office disappointment, and a box office flop. A bomb is like it made so below expectations. You know what I'm saying? They'll shelf that damn movie. Matter of fact, if it's a real big box office bomb, they'll remove it from movie theaters within a couple of weeks. You know what I'm saying? And we've seen this happen quite a few times. Also, with box office bombs and box office flops and box office disappointments, that's the reason why you have channels like HBO, Cinemax, the Movie Channel, Showtime. That's the reason why you have your premium channels. Even back in my day, Select TV and Nostalgia and those type of movie channels from back in the day. Stars didn't come along until 1993, 1994. But those channels were important because when a movie bombed at the fucking box office or the movie flopped at the box office, then they will surpass their revenue and they'll get residuals off of their movies that fucked up in the box office. So that's one of the reasons why those movies were so important. And even pay-per-view was very important too, because a lot of times at the box office, they'll be disappointed at the box office, but pay-per-view will help them financially. So that's the reason why you have Showtime, Cinemax, HBO, the Movie Channel, and stuff like that, or those premium channels, because those were the money makers for directors. Because there was quite a few movies from back in the day that was a disappointment, like Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka, a lot of people don't know. Willy Wonka was a box office flop. A lot of people don't know this, and this was a classic movie. Scarface. A lot of people don't know Scarface was a box office flop. What ended up happening with Scarface, and if you can even if you go to Wikipedia, they're gonna say it was 60 million. Scarface flopped in the movies, but what got it back up was the home video, and I think it didn't come out in home video till 1986. Anybody in the chat room, you know what I'm saying? Please correct me, because I see one viewer. It didn't come out till in home video, and the home video revenue surpassed expectation. It was a big on home video, but Scarface was a flop in the box office. A lot of people forget that. Fucking classic. Yeah. Those channels and home videos and DVDs, they're very important for the movie industry. You know what I'm saying? Because if you flop, if you get a good reception on HBO and Showtime and Cinemax, or you get a good reception in DVDs, you can easily make up for the revenue you lost at the box office. You know, you can easily make up for that. But a lot of people don't know Scarface was a flop at the movies. You know what I'm saying? You can Wikipedia this, and Wikipedia will say different, but a lot of people that remember Scarface, you know, nobody really went to the movies to see that. But when it came out on home video, it took off. It made a lot of money. You know, a lot of those people forgot about that damn movie. Same happened with Roadhouse. Roadhouse was a box office disappointment. What ended up happening was the home video receipts made up for the box office fail, and it became a cult classic. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people forget about this, but Roadhouse bombed at the fucking box office. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But I just wanted to educate people on movies, and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I just wanted to put people up on game and understand the terminology of the movie industry. So again, this is your boy Jimmy J Smooth, touching down at that 832. Y'all already know the business, from Bombay to fucking San Francisco Bay. Peace out.